Okay, so this is the Q&A, which is for the PMP program Q&A. So my name is Dennis. I'm really sorry that there are camera issues, so you can't see me. But you know, anyway, I am a real person, and I am the program manager for the PMP program. So you might have questions about what the PMP program is or what we do on the PMP program. If you have, you could put them in the chat box. So at the moment, I am going to just type you all a very quick question, which says, any questions? And I don't know if any of you are familiar with what the PMP program are. I see I have 6 participants, one of them Michelle I know, and the other 5 participants, are any of you PMP students?
I don't think so,
No, anything? Okay. Well, I'll just start off by just giving you a very, very, very brief rundown of what the PMP program is. So the PMP program is a pre-master's program. This is a program which you will do for 6 or 9 months. There are 2 entry points. One entry point in September. So if you come to the program in September, that means you will have 9 months. You could also start in January, of course, and that means you have 6 months. It's the same program for both intakes, but of course, you know, the longer you have on the program, the easier it is to achieve the outcome. But that's not to say that any student starts in January is anyway disadvantaged. In fact, very often they do just as well, if not better, than the other students. The PMP program is mainly composed of EAP, which we talked about earlier this morning, and research, research methods, which will be talked about at the 10:40 talk. So both components are really important. You have to do both to fulfill the program. The number of hours devoted to them are not, for class time, is not equal because there is 12 hours of EAP, which sounds like a lot, and 6 hours of research, which might not sound like very much. But however, remember, the class time is not just the thing to focus on. A lot of the work that you do in PMP is what you might call homework, you know? So you'll have a lot of work to do, but a lot of the work that you will do is at home. Now, you probably have got a lot of information from Nerily, you know, about it, so I'm not going to go through all the finer details of the program, but I will take any questions, any specific questions that you might have, because sometimes it's hard for me to know what kind of information you know or what you don't know, and questions are helpful. So anybody have a question? If you're too shy to turn on your microphone, you could type the question in the chat box.
Okay, Dennis, I just have a quick question.
Yes, Michelle.
All the students on PMP all come from all types of backgrounds, do they?
Yes, so it's quite mixed, you know. This kind of makes sense in a way. So we are taking students who hope to go on to university, obviously, but the students on our program could be from anywhere, really anywhere in the world. It
So I
depends.
mean like educational background, their undergraduate could be any topic.
Oh yes, sorry. Yes, so all the students will have studied at undergraduate level, and they will have completed their degree or their diploma. But of course, coming on to the PMP program, it doesn't matter what your major or what your subject was. So we will have lots of different types of students who have studied economics, business, finance, science, social studies. A lot of students maybe have done general degrees, such as like maybe a business degree. And now, obviously, they want to specialize when it comes to their masters. So maybe, let's say, in your own university, if you had studied business, maybe now for your masters, you might like to move into HR, or you might like to specialize in finance. Okay, so the program is designed to be general enough to suit everybody, because the EAP is not topic specific. And the research methods, obviously, you can do your research project regardless of what background you come from. There is a component on the PMP program called management. This is 6 hours a week. Now, initially, sometimes when people see management, they automatically might think this is just to do with business or economics, but that's not true, because management is an important topic across all fields. You know, so for example, if I study science, or I study economics, or I study education, I still need to understand how to manage people, how society operates, how groups of people work together. So the term management uh, takes on a different meaning on the PMP program. It's not just about some manager managing a company. It's about how the whole of the work community functions, you know, and everybody needs to know about this. If you're an engineer or a doctor or a scientist or a pilot, it doesn't matter what your master's in, this is still very relevant. So yeah, all our students come from a whole host of backgrounds. Also, this was part of your initial question, but we have students from lots of different countries, you know. So some of our students come from China. For example, this year on the PMP program, we have Chinese students, Japanese, Malaysian, um, Nigerian, um, sometimes Pakistan, you know, so it's a good opportunity for students to try to get access and meet students from other countries. Any other questions?
So the whole concept really behind the course is the transition to like postgraduate.
Correct. Yeah. So the PMP program, on the subject list, you will see EAP and research. Okay, but of course, it's about a lot more than that. A lot of what we do in the PMP program is try to start to prepare students for their future studies. You know, so obviously, being an undergraduate and a postgraduate is very different. You know, the approach that's taken, especially in Western style education, such as in Ireland and the UK and across Europe, an approach to a master's is quite it's quite focused on the student being able to develop autonomy. You know, as an undergraduate, a lot of the time we have been guided very closely by our tutors, whereas in a master's program in university, a lot of the work will have to be done by yourself, independently. You know, yes, you will have help from your tutor, from your professor, but you really need to be able to work alone. Part of the PMP program is to prepare you to do that. You know, so we will teach you a lot of skills that help bridge the gap between the undergraduate and the masters. So things like how to manage your time, how to access resources, how to develop good communication strategies. A lot of times we find the problem that when students go from being an undergraduate to a master's, especially studying abroad, the methods of communication are very different. You know, I think in Ireland and the UK universities, the communication demands are different. You know, tutors expect different things than they might from tutors in your own country. So part of the benefit of being on the pre-masters program is that it really helps to open your eyes as to what's coming down the track for your masters, and it also helps you to even be aware of the possible pitfalls in your masters. You know, a lot of students walk into a master's program and they have no idea what's ahead of them. The PMP program will give you a good idea of knowing where to start and knowing where your difficulty might lie. You know, the PMP program is quite challenging. The demands are high, but it's really, really guided by the tutors.
Dennis, we've lost you a little bit.
Oh,
Second.
sorry, Michelle. Yeah. So the PMP program is probably quite a demanding program, but it's very much guided by the tutors and the teachers. So um, it's a very good learning environment, I think.
So it's like a holistic approach, isn't it?
Yes, a holistic approach is right. So you don't just learn EAP and research, you learn uh, you learn the whole picture about what it would be like to be a master's student uh, in university. So it's like a practice run for the real thing. You know? Also, it's probably important to remember that education is changing very fast. I'm sure everybody is aware of the global pandemic. Um, it, there's a lot of talk now about universities going online, you know? And so I think, you know, for teachers, for students, for everybody, involved in education, it probably is time to start thinking about online and how we work and how we approach that. I think part of this challenge is really also for students, you know, to think about how they feel about online and this whole new way of looking at it. I don't know if we have Audrey because I was going to ask her a question about how she felt online, but she's not here. Michelle, as a student, you have studied online, and how have you found it yourself?
Well, there are challenging parts of it, Dennis, but I think that there, like everything, there are pros and cons, but I think one of the big pros of it is accessibility to lectures.
Yes.
There's a lot more accessibility. There's a lot more one-on-one. Whereas in the past, maybe you'd walk into a lecture room and there's 10 or 15 other students. The tutor is dealing with that dynamic. And then the tutor just leaves the room and you have to make an appointment to see the tutor. With the online delivery, there's definitely, strangely enough, a bigger connect, I think, between student and tutor now. So, and also, it's been going this way for a long time. This pandemic has just sped up the process, really. I did a master's, and a huge component of my course was online, and I did very well in it. So I think it's a good thing. I think people just have to adapt to it slightly.
Correct. And also, I agree with what you were saying. And I myself will think that it's interesting the way sometimes when you are forced to do something because of outside forces like a pandemic, it's only then that you realize the value of what it could be. So, for example, maybe for many years I would have said, I only want to be in a classroom with my teacher and my classmates, you know? Whereas when I did go online and when I did study online, then I realized, yes, it does have potential and it does have value. So a lot of it is about changing our mindset and changing our approach to to um, education in general. But I think especially at master's level, you know, I think maybe undergraduates might still hanker to be in a classroom, but I think for anybody, in my view, for anybody going on to do a master's, um, no matter what happens now, there will be a portion of this course online anyway. You know, that it doesn't matter what you do in work, in education, online is becoming an integral part of life, really.
Mm.
You know, so even for example, if I do have to go into a physical classroom or into a physical office, I think that is only now going to be part of a bigger picture. You know, my physical goes to class line and my online life, they're all going to merge, you know.
I would agree with you. I think that people are realizing that working online is also, it saves time. You know, you're not traveling.
That's
You're
right.
you're able to start straight away. You start at 9 instead of maybe coming 5 minutes late. That's not a problem
That's
anymore.
right. Also, I think in terms of, for example, the PMP program, having portion of it online is actually in the end going to benefit students who might be a little bit weaker. You know, we all have different levels of ability. So, for example, maybe some students are really good at reading, but not good at listening or not good at writing. The benefit of online is that you have time to work at your own pace, you know. So if you need to do something in 2 hours, that's okay. You're at home online. If you need 4 hours to do it, that's okay too. You know, so I think it has advantages for students who need extra. Often in the classroom, you know, you might have 1 hour to complete something. At 1 hour, the teacher walks out the door, they're gone,
Yeah.
the class is over, you know, maybe you're not finished. Whereas online, it really doesn't matter, you know. And I think that taking that pressure, time pressure off students is ultimately a good thing.
Yeah, I would agree.
Now, of course, not everything is rosy. I would be, as a student, as a former student myself, I would say it does take training, but a lot of self-training. You know, if you're a procrastinator, well, you know, that's a problem. You know, and probably there's a little bit of that in all of us. You know, I will do it tomorrow, and I will do it next week. But I think this is just a matter of discipline and training yourself, you know, to learn how to manage your online life, just as you might have managed your classroom life. Okay, very good. There are lots of thoughts, you know. Any questions from the audience, from the class? No, you were all a little bit shy. Does anybody in this group want to come to Ireland to go to university? No. Okay. Anyway, we will have to leave this meeting now because the time is up. Don't worry if you haven't caught everything. Remember, this is just an introductory talk, and any more information you can just contact Nerily, and she will let you know anything that you want to know. Okay, everybody, thank you for coming. I'm going to leave the meeting now, and thanks a million, Michelle.
Thanks, Dennis. That was very informative. Thank
Yeah,
you.
no problem.